good morning, and welcome to Spill the Tea. I'm here with Guillermo Ione and with our
Hi,
very,
everybody.
very special and our very special guest, Victor Peña, who owns Omniprint International. So thank you for joining us, and I'm so excited to talk to Victor and ask him the questions that I think are really, really important in the apparel business. And we are going to get behind the seams with Victor and learn a little bit about what he knows because he really knows so much. So, Vic, I know it's early in California. I'm assuming you're in California, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. So so let's hear a little bit about you personally and that you would like everybody who listens to know about you.
Yeah, awesome. Well, first of all, super happy to be here, Meryl, and really enjoy always connecting with you, and bringing some value to your audience too. So, uh, love the title also of of the podcast. You have the best titles, super creative. So I love it. Yeah, so I'm here in California, but it's already late. It's 9 a.m. I'm normally here at the office at 6, banging the workout. So it's I'm pumped and ready to give some value. So let's roll.
Okay, all right, let's roll. All right. So obviously, so did you work out this morning? You already worked out
Yeah,
this
of
morning?
course.
Okay.
Yep,
All
yep.
right. Me too.
So yeah.
So far I've actually done 4.5 miles this morning. We've been doing it twice a day, so working really hard mentally, physically. You got to keep on doing it to keep your stamina up, right?
Exactly. I love it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, a little bit about myself. So I'm founder and CEO of Omniprint International, and we're in the print on demand space. So our mission is to empower business owners globally to win and thrive with print on demand. So it's what we're here to do every single day. And we've been in the business for about 18 years. And always looking for that next thing that'll bring somebody value. And Yeah, and for a lot of people that might not know me, first off, I take full responsibility for that. I want everybody to know me, and that's why I do a lot of different events and gigs, so that we can get out in the audience. So I started this business 0405. I come from Mexico. I've been here since I was like 6 or 7 years old. So no English, nothing, no real entrepreneurship guidance or anything like that. And it's all about determining like what I wanted to do with my life was different than what I saw my family. So incrementally, year after year, I just pushed towards that vision. So fast forward to now, obviously I'm running this business. Also, I'm a real estate investor, and business mentor for people that want to grow and scale their businesses, and that keeps me fired up. And essentially, I don't talk about anything that I haven't done, that I haven't experienced. I don't make stuff up. It's just basically real gems that I've learned through this journey, that could help people out there. I don't really, there's a lot of people out there that are just repeating what's cool and what the trends are. I just straight up tell it how I done it and go from there. So hopefully, throughout this podcast, I can motivate one person out there to, get up and get things done and grow. So thank you so much for having me, Meryl.
No, you're very welcome. I think one of the reasons why you and I connect so well is because yes, we have a business, and yes, you supply the machines, I supply the printing, but we have this passion for teaching people, for getting to know people, for marketing. If I was just marketing all day long, forget about printing, I would be happy because it's something that I enjoy doing. And I think that when people meet you at the shows, because there's a lot of shows all throughout the year. There's I mean, and they are very, very big shows and they're exhausting and they're tiring and you have to set up and you have to do all those things. And they don't get to really meet you one on one, but you are there. You are one of the business owners. Well, you that is actually there at the show, and Tanya and your staff, and you bring a big staff, and it's you. And a lot of other companies, like you don't actually see the founder of the company there, but you're right there. You're talking to people, you're bringing people on, you're showing demonstrations and all the different equipment. So I think that that's really wonderful, and that's so important in our apparel industry, that you have a connection and that everybody, and I've said this so many times, utilizes each other as strategic partners, because we can't do it. You didn't do it alone. We can't do it alone. I mean, you started alone. I started mine alone, but we can't continue on a growth unless we have our team, our group of people behind us that are cheering for us and helping us. And
Yeah, big
you're,
time.
yeah. So what did, I don't know if you want to talk about this or not. What brought you to starting a company to make and sell equipment to print apparel?
Yeah. When it comes to like how you start your business, at the beginning for me, I saw an opportunity to do something in a super stable industry, and kind of bring my tech knowledge, right? But the reality, Meryl, is I'm like, I gotta make some money, and I saw this opportunity to be able to do something exciting, because my background uh, was in tech, right? So I got out of tech school, and I was doing tech stuff at other companies. I was in the hospitality space first, um, where you go down to a hotel and use the business center printers, and you have to pay to use them. And I was involved in like all those integrations to charge you guys to use the printers downstairs on your credit card, like $3 a minute, so you're welcome, or $2 a page, ridiculous like that. So that's what I was doing. And I saw opportunity to kind of leverage that into something else. So I didn't know that, I didn't have a passion for apparel. I didn't have a passion for printing or any of that stuff. I was more of like, all right, I really think that something can happen. And then I think that if we bring value to the marketplace, then you'll make that money, right? So that was the initial start.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's interesting because, like you said, you weren't into like art or fashion or anything like that. And then I think now you see it all around you. So you can't help but learn more about it. And so you're not the style guy. You're more of the techie guy, is what
Yep,
you're
a
saying,
hundred
right?
percent. Like you're the style person. You have the
Right.
creativity. You have all that stuff. I didn't even know how to use Photoshop. I didn't even know how to, what a PNG high resolution file, all that stuff. Like it's not something that like you work on in tech at all.
Right, right, right. So when I first met you, you had already started the company, you were already selling equipment, and I still say this, if it wasn't for Omniprint, I would not be doing what I'm doing now. I would not have the equipment, I wouldn't have the customers, I would be in a totally different art space, printing space altogether, maybe not even doing apparel, just doing paper printing like we were doing. But with the equipment that you provided, it gave me the creativity to even think outside the box. So when we first got Victor's machines, his free jet, I think it was free jet minus 0101. I always joke that was probably the first dongle number, like 01, but no, I think it was like 27 or something like that. Anyway, um, our first job was we had like 200 black shirts with the full front and back, and my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, he was like, "What are we doing? We're printing through the night," and we were printing for a rock and roll guy, and who was somewhat of a diva, so we couldn't make any mistakes whatsoever. And I remember I remember you saying, "Oh, you're going to use a lot of white ink when you first start because you're learning." And we're like, "Oh, sure, we'll do it, we'll do it." And we did. You well had white underbase on a black shirt. You got to do white. But the I will tell you, this was back in probably like 2009, maybe, or I don't know, it was a while ago.
Yeah, around
And
there.
yeah, and we're still wearing those shirts. So we still have those shirts, and they look great. I mean, they're maybe the rock and roll guy isn't doing that tour anymore, but we still have the product and we still wear it, and that's the whole thing. So that's why I really wanted to talk to you about retail branding, because I feel that this is my feeling. I mean, it's not like I'm not going. You probably know the numbers of like what the apparel industry does every year. You probably have those numbers off the top of your head, like $20 billion a year in apparel
Yeah,
decorating.
it's a crazy opportunity. It's somewhere around that for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I don't know what the separation is between screen printers, DIY people, people starting brands, and then big brands. But I believe that the before digital printing came out, it was very difficult to start a brand on a small level. And some of these brands have started out small and grown to these ginormous brands because of digital printing. So we're going to have like a business owner listening to the podcast. We're going to have a DIY mom in her kitchen listening to the podcast, and both of them can take their designs, their brands, and grow it to this to whatever they want because of the quality in digital printing. Now that's my opinion. I don't know how you feel about that. You've worked with designers.
Yeah, definitely. So, one thing that's very important is you got to look at like what are the hurdles of really getting something going, getting something off the ground as a designer, right? So the most successful businesses that we've helped grow have an eye for the graphic. They have a design. They have something that is unique, and then now finding a way to be able to deliver it on demand without such a heavy load investment up front in producing has really been the game changer, and what really print on demand has done to help designers and brands out there grow. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a great idea. Idea number one, you're a great designer, but idea number one is going to cost you so much because you have every single color to do, you have every single size, and then if your artwork is multicolor, you have like easily a 10, 15, $20,000 investment to have get your first round of inventory, right? And that's after you paid a ton of money for sampling,
Mhm.
for you to be like, oh yeah, I like this blank, I like how this looks, my audience will resonate with it. But what's the problem there? Um, that might be the last amount of money that you a had saved up or you borrowed from somebody. And what if that tanks, right?
Mhm.
And the majority of the time, those are going to tank, right? Because you're not fully ready yet, um, and you spend a lot of money there. But for a lot of people, their design number two, design number three, design number five, design number 10, crush it. And a lot of people don't get to design number two. They don't get to design number 10. So if you're able to be a creative person and start building a brand where you have a way to get to design number 10 without blowing all your investment at the beginning, that's the number one thing that's going to be the unlock. Because in business, a lot of people think that there's one capitalist that really made you win. Oh man, I got this thing, I got this one customer, and all of a sudden all my problems went away and I made a ton of money. That's what people think businesses and entrepreneurship is, for the most part. But the reality is, it is incremental deals incremental value to the marketplace that you bring that actually compound over time to be able to make you win, right? So if you want to build a big retail brand, you have to figure out a way to release things, test, um, and do it in a retail ready quality that people will resonate with, and you're able to build that audience, right? And that's the and I'm not just making this up as a this is what I feel you should do. It's what I've seen happen over and over again with some of our customers that have our machines, our equipment, uh, that we're able to reiterate and build a brand based on incremental timing. So that's super important. That's what print on demand brings to it.
You're right. So basically, probably a lot of the people that have equipment, like me, we print for other people. We print other people's designs, other people's logos, and just recently, and it's not that I don't have all these brands in my head, because trust me, you know me, I've got Southern Babies, I got 53 Clothing Company. I've got a million brands in my head that I'm ready to push out on the market when I have the right help people helping me to market those brands. So it's marketing the brands as well. But we did decide to start a brand on our own through our own brand called Love Your Fate. And yeah, we could make like 5 or 6 different items, see how they look, see who's interested in them, see if they want the logo big, see if they're going to buy them with the logo down the sleeve, and we just did it like in with black, but then we did a multicolor one, which and we could do that with this equipment and have a retail quality garment. So in other words, I was talking to Guillermo about this because I think he was kind of blown away by it. We were looking at a couple of these brands that probably like I know my mother never heard of, but I'm sure that you heard of, like the Fear of God and Supreme, and now they're doing something with Adidas. I just saw it this morning. I had all this stuff to talk to you about, and then I like opened up my computer this morning and I saw that their Fear of God is partnering with Adidas. Like wow, that is, now they say they've only been in business 10 years, but I wonder, did they have 20 years prior to that they were building up and building up? What, like, I know you have worked with so many designers. Is that like overnight success started with years before, or it's not really an overnight success?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. I mean, even from my experience and people that I've seen, like people's overnight success is easily years of work and preparation, right?
Hmm.
You don't see that much, especially in our industry. You don't see that many people going from, oh, I just came up with an idea, I release it today, and all of a sudden I won. We've all seen the memes, right? You all see online where you see like the iceberg where 90% of it's underwater, and then you have like
Hmm.
the tip of it coming out, and then the reality is all of the preparation that it took is underwater that nobody sees. And I've seen that time and time again where people just they start with an idea, maybe they use our fulfillment center to start it, and iterate it because they don't even have the money to buy their own equipment. They buy one, then they start scaling and doing a lot of orders. But for the most part, if you're getting into creating a brand or creating a business, even if it's unrelated to apparel, you're still creating a brand and you're creating your own brand as well. Um, you should be thinking in 10-year horizons, 10-year time spans. If you
Hmm.
don't, then you're going to be thinking of, hey, why am I seeing every 17-year-old with a Lamborghini on Instagram, and they're like in Dubai right now, and it's just all hype.
Hmm.
It's all
Right.
hype. So a real business that will be sustainable over time requires you to have long-term thinking. You need to build a team. You can't just be yourself in Dubai, with a couple of VAs. Like that doesn't build a huge business that has enterprise value for the long haul, right? So
Mhm. Right.
that's what I've
Right.
seen. I don't have anybody off the top of my mind, Meryl, that say, you know what, this person came with an idea and then they crushed it the next week. I just haven't
Mhm.
seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I of course, when you look on Instagram, and TikTok, it appears like that's happening because that's just what they want you to perceive. It's all a bunch of just perceived notions. It's not reality. And I believe that you do have to work hard. Of course, you have to work smart. You have to be creative. And I think one of the things is you need to be flexible. So you need to understand that when you create your path and if you write it down or if you just have it in your head or wherever you have it, if you get a bump, you're going to get a bump. You're going to get a hiccup, many times. And some hiccups are going to be bigger than other hiccups. And you just have to find a solution instead of say, that's it. I'm done. If it's something you really care about, then it's something that you continue and you find a solution because every problem has an answer. And it could be from as simple as like how come I didn't get this bid, or how come I can't, look, we all had inventory issues with apparel after COVID, and I think it's now it's starting to be normalized somewhat. If the customer if I can't get a white shirt to print on, can I print on a light gray shirt and have it the same kind of a look to it? um, but you have to be flexible and not be like just swept off your feet over a problem.
Yeah.
It just has to
Uh,
be, like be responsible and take responsibility for all of your actions. um so this is a
Yeah,
good question.
Meryl, like there's one thing I always really like to unpack stuff because I don't want a listener to um, kind of miss the most important part, right? The most important part in your life and in business is what you said: take responsibility, and that's one of the biggest traits that. After me interviewing so many successful business owners and some of my friends, um, the number one thing that successful people do is they take 100% responsibility for everything. Everything is their fault.
Hmm.
And what I mean by everything, I mean everything. They're not blaming, like even if they get rear-ended on their way to the office, they take responsibility for that. I should have waken up, I should have woke up earlier.
Hmm.
I
Right.
should have I could have done a different route, right? Business, you lose a deal. What did I do to lose it? Right? Um,
Hmm.
if you don't do that, you're constantly in a loop where your mind doesn't know what to do when you say it's this other person's fault why I'm in a certain situation. Your mind
Hmm.
has no way of giving you a solution. But if you decide I'm going to take responsibility and like, hey, I lost this deal because I wasn't prepared, now your mind has a way to say, okay, how do we get prepared?
Hmm.
We
Right.
take this course, we do this class, we do um, we make sure we have 10 more deals in the pipeline so that losing one doesn't matter. That's how you take responsibility, right? So number one thing that somebody can take away in business is if they don't take responsibility for everything, they're going to always be in a loop of failure, and
Right.
winners take responsibility.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the most difficult part because every time it's not me, it's everybody else.
Yeah, so
100%.
many people, so many people. I think that that's why some of us succeed because there's so many people that feel that way. So they kind of stay in their corner or where they are, and you know, th- it takes when you take responsibility for your actions. That's the only way that you will learn. It's the only way to learn. And their ego just gets too big. The same thing. You get rear-ended on the way. I Why was I there? I shouldn't have driven that way. Take responsibility. That's a really good it's a really good analogy. I wish that more people did. I wish more employees did that. I wish they would help. It would help businesses grow if more people that even work for us took responsibility for for things that they did, but that's not going to happen.
100%. I
That's why
think, yeah, I mean, look, none of us really get taught this, right? We learn it through like trying to run through a brick wall countless
Mhm.
times, and then you learn, oh shit, maybe I should go around it.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do something different
Right.
because
Right.
I know I could break this wall down, but damn, my forehead's gonna be hurting by the time I do, right? So might as well go around. And the same thing, like one of the things that I'm doing right now is making sure that I try to duplicate and I become a better leader by letting people know, hey, you know what? Uh, I I did it by taking responsibility for everything. If
Mhm.
you want to reach your goals, Mr. Employee, um, I don't know how to do it other than how I did it, right?
Mhm.
How I did it was taking responsibility. If you want to reach your goals, you could do it this way. So we could do more and more to like help our people grow. And then you'll see that the ones that don't want to grow, they'll self-select out and they'll bounce.
Yeah,
And that's going to
automatically
be
they'll
better
fall
for
off.
you and it's going to be better for them. So it's all
Mhm.
good.
Right, right, right. Okay, so now that we're talking about deep stuff, let's talk about fun stuff. Let's talk about ink and color and some of the stuff that I'm seeing these days on apparel, on the super expensive apparel. I want your opinion about this. A t-shirt cost X amount of dollars. A t-shirt that a high-end brand sells is selling for $200. How does that happen?
Yeah, I love this question, Meryl. Look, if you think about and all of us in the apparel space, we've all done it. We all know what a t-shirt costs. We've all been at a high-end retail place. What do we do first? We get super judgy of how crappy the print is and then how we would have done it better, right?
Mhm,
Then we get super judgy on how like this material, man, I could get this for $4, right? Um,
mhm,
so we start there. We're so used to it. But I want to challenge you to be like, okay, well, how do I build the kind of value in a brand that will connect with an audience where they're gonna cough up $200 for a $7 product that
mhm,
costs, right?
mhm,
So the only way that you do that is because this is what I learned early on from one of my mentors, is that price is only an issue in the absence of value. So if you don't-
okay,
if
write that
you
down, write that down.
yeah, yeah, write that down.
Yeah,
Price is
really
only
deep.
an issue in the absence of value. So if you can create some time and spend more of your time creating value in a piece for your audience versus how many ounces of blank's going to be, uh, do I screen print it? Do I do this color or that color? If you spend more time creating some value, then you'll be able to at some point sell it for the highest amount, right? So
Mhm,
that's the advice I would give there because a lot of the times we just go down the wrong path, and it's just because I've done it myself, right? Man, I used to like I would go to the stores and like get super judgy on it, and but
mhm.
now it's like, all right, well, this great, good for them, good, they got it done, right? So we can
Right,
all do it.
right, right. I had actually one of our employees the other day. I had come up to him with something that we were cleaning out the back. Even though we've only been here for a year, we still have stuff we got to clean out, extra shirts and everything. And I had pulled out one of my koozies, like this little T-shirt koozie that I love, and I had one of our lines on it, which was 53 Clothing Company. And the first thing he said was, "Oh, that's such a saturated market." And I said, I love that. I love saturated markets because it brings awareness to what you're selling. So you don't have to market that hard. You don't have to convince somebody that, that they need to have that product because you're already, Nike's already convincing them of that. They already know it, Adidas is already convincing them of that. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to, ride on their tails and use a little bit of their marketing strategy to bring awareness to your brand. So it's how you think. It's you got to think the positive way about that, but and be happy for them that they are kind of helping you in a way. I always use this other analogy. There's a gas station on every corner and they're all busy. So just because there's other brands, doesn't mean that your brand will not make it. It's just how what you said about add the value to it. That's probably the hardest thing is that, obviously if, a movie star wears your shirt, you're going to get a lot of attention. Not everyone lives in LA, or nearby to be able to do that. But, there are other ways. I'm sure that would be a whole nother podcast on other ways to market to gain that kind of glam attraction that
Definitely.
these high-end brands, represent. I'm going to say represent. So, but I do think that print on demand has allowed that to happen to anybody with a dream, right?
Man, like first off, look, I think that you always have an opportunity to create a brand, and it's starting with yourself, right? Because it doesn't matter what the end product is. So, and what I mean by that is we all have to kind of stop thinking about what can I sell, and stop thinking about the shirt, the koozie, the mug, the hoodie, right? That comes with it. But check this out. There's so many people, so many eyeballs, especially on social media everywhere, that will connect with you for who you are, right? Now, that becomes your brand. So the first thing that you can do is start really getting clear about who you are and what you want. And then now communicate it, and then speak to others that, align with you. They want what you want. They believe what you believe. And guess what? All of a sudden you start creating a following, because man, they really like what you got going on. And then from
Right.
there, you're building a personal brand. And if you have a business, guess what? They start connecting with your business. And now you can say, hey, you know what? I love this koozie. I use it. And here it is. Boom, all of a sudden you have a built-in customer base that starts buying your stuff. But
Right.
if you do it backwards and you try to source the cheapest koozie and put whatever logo on it, then your only option is to find the companies that are looking for that for the cheapest price. And now you're doing a transactional situation versus a transformational situation that builds enterprise value for your brand for the long run, right? So
Right.
these are the main things you got to think about. And one is a quick hit, and the other one is a long burn. So that's why thinking in the long term will help everybody out make better decisions for their brands.
So Guillermo's wife started her brand, and she called it her name, Debbie Brandt, which I think is a really good way to start a brand, which is, Victor, it's exactly what you're saying. It's about you. It may not even be about the shirt but it's about connecting with that person. So the fact that she started the brand by calling it her name, that's right there. That's lesson 1 from Victor. So Debbie passes lesson 1.
Yeah. I will after this I will talk to her, because every
Right.
single stuff that you just said, Victor, is true. It makes a lot of sense.
So we have to see how her line goes. That obviously we're going to be printing for her, and I hope it goes really well. But take a lot of the stuff that Victor's saying when you're starting a brand. And we will report back next month and let you know, how well she's done. So
Exactly.
Vic,
Let me know. Let me know in 5 years, Guillermo, how it's going.
I will.
right. You'll see retail stores all over.
That's right. Yep. She's gonna
So
kill
so
it.
how does your business as a business, um, going to traveling so much like you do to all the trade shows, how does that connection with new do you connect more with new people when you go to these trade shows, or are you connecting with previous owners of equipment when you go to the trade shows? And just tell me a little bit about that. Do you see new people coming into the industry is kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah. So okay. Um, Definitely. Look, I have a whole trade show system documented, kind of throughout the years. It's based on experience and what the targets are for trade shows. And I'll tell you this for a little for a story. Okay, my first trade show. This is before I knew you. Um, Trade shows are very expensive. Um, you could easily pay for like, I don't know, $15,000 for like an 8x8 corner, and like it might even be way more, right? My first trade show, I convinced somebody to let me borrow a corner in their booth, and I didn't have the money to pay the guys, the union guys to bring in the equipment, because it's like a couple thousand for them to bring it from the dock and bring it over to the booth, right? So what I did is I asked one of my buddies, "Hey, let's go over here to this show. We're gonna, bring this printer to the booth." We waited till the union guys went to lunch, because man, they go to lunch, and when they do, it's like the place is like dead, right? And so we look left, we look right, and then we hustle and bring the machine over to the booth from the dock, and we carry it over. Um, to save that money, right? And the reason I'm telling you the story is that um, uh, and every investment that I did, I put on a credit card, so I didn't have the option to go to a trade show and be like, I'm just gonna go meet people. Actually, I have to be here and sell something so I could pay this card back and then make some profit and then do it again on the next time, right? Um, and a lot of people go to trade shows to just sit there and go have free drinks on the company and eat steak on the company, and they didn't sell one damn thing, right? So
Mhm.
and in my business, every single time we go to a trade show, it's very intentional. We need to build relationships. Number one,
Mhm. Mhm.
build relationships, um, and it's twofold. You build relationships with new people that are coming into the industry, and you help them with their goals. And then number two, you talk with your customers. You talk with people that already trusted you, and you build relationships with them too. So those are our main goals when we go to a show. And if we do those things properly, then we'll make revenue out of trade shows, right?
Mhm.
So it's not a branding thing so that people can see your logo. If you do it right, you'll win. And um, I probably should do more content about how to win at trade shows and events, and
Mhm.
start just sharing all of my tactics and secrets. I'll probably do some videos on that now that you brought it up. But those are the goals. And there's always new people coming into the industry on your
Mhm.
second part. And I would say a majority, maybe about 65-70% of our sales of new equipment are for people that are getting in the business, and they need that help and the mentorship to get in there.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I know that a lot of people start businesses when they're already have another job. They're working, which is actually kind of like a good thing. Like, don't quit your day job when you're just starting your business, because you need the money, so to live, because it does take time. Because it does take time, and if you have a passion, you're going to understand that. If you don't have a passion, if you're just doing it whatever, then it's not even worth it to do it. But there's so many people that are, I think, that are creative but don't even realize how creative they can be. And one of the things I was saying is, I started to say, I don't know if I finished saying it because sometimes I don't remember what I say, but when we first got the your machine, I said, oh, let's print on denim. Well, I never saw anybody, and I'm sure other people did print on denim. I'm sure I'm not the first one to print on denim. And you guys had a great denim jacket at the last show. It was awesome. I took a picture of it, posted. I love it. I may kind of steal it next time I see you, if you still have it hanging there. And and
Man, if somebody else didn't steal at the show, because man, everything flies if you don't have it bolted down at shows.
you gotta, yeah, you gotta hold that one down. And I thought, okay, well, I can print on denim. I can print on dish towels. I can print on anything, and I don't have to just print on t-shirts. And I know that in the beginning, um, the the inks were really made for cotton, just cotton. And then people started, I'm sure, asking you about polyesters, and you had to come out with another kind of an ink and another machine to print on polyesters because you had to pivot, like we were talking about. You thought, in the beginning, it's cotton, 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 and then it's like, oh, wait, I got to do something for this other blend of a t-shirt that people are asking for and they're wearing all the time. Then you had to not change, you still kept your one machine, but then you came out with another. That's not easy to just come out with a new machine, new ink. Like people think like, oh, it's just a product. But you went overseas, I know. You researched, you did a lot of research, you mix your own inks and everything, right? So
Yeah.
so that's, I mean, people don't realize that. They don't understand. Like they just go buy something like, hey, I'm going to pour this in here and it'll work. Why does that work? What was how can I do that now? And I couldn't do that before. That's part of knowing your market, knowing what the market needs, and being able to also, as I keep saying, have the quality on your shirts and on your whatever it is, your jeans and your jeans jackets and your towels and all that other kind of stuff. So that takes a lot. People don't realize how's it made. There's a TV show where they show you how things are made, and like, wow, I never knew that.
That's right.
Which is
That's
kind of
awesome.
incredible. So
Yeah,
when
we, we,
you're
we
looking,
should we should do a how it's made, Mao, with that same soothing voice
right,
from that show.
right,
That's a classic.
right, 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 right.
I've
So
taken
so
many a naps to that show, I'll tell you that.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So when you look at garments, just blank garments, and we're talking about brands again, and keep going back to that. Do you think that the style of the shirt matters so much in the elevation of the brand? Like, the
Yeah.
neckline.
It definitely matters, but I'll tell you why. And it goes back to really being clear of who the audience is.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to know what will resonate, right? So for example, if you know that who you are is a streetwear creative type of person, then and you're building an audience like that, you already built a brand like that, then the apparel that you choose is very important because it has to align. So what's going to win? A big heavyweight product, super high quality, big thick print, like all of that's going to win for your audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be able to know and have that clear for yourself so that you're not just testing things based on, I don't know, maybe what it's costing you or what's available at the time or whatever, right? You know that it's going to resonate with your audience. Um, on the flip side, let's say that your core audience is a fitness crew, right? They're not going to wear a thick heavyweight thing. They're going to wear like some super light where they can look buff and like their muscles show, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the crew, that's your brand. That's the kind of apparel that you need to be looking for. So if you don't spend the time to be clear about what your brand is, what the values, what's the mission of the brand, all of that stuff that we hear that we should do, but we think it's kind of like, you know, hullabaloo, um, and but we don't do it. Then you're robbing yourself of that time of creating a clear foundation that will automatically tell you which blank to get, what color, all of that, because you did the work at the beginning to really get clear on who your customer is and what your brand needs to be.
There's so many blanks on the market now that are coming out that are um, just slightly different than others, and I don't know if it's. I think if you push something, people will like it. If you tell them, this is a new thing, this is nicer, people will automatically go toward the new styles. I mean, there's basically you have a T-shirt, it's a style, and you get some of these manufacturers, and they do these little tiny tweaks, adding an extra stitch. I honestly don't know if the average person even notices that stuff. I mean, we,
No,
you know,
look, I think that people in your brand, people are going to notice what you point out.
hmm
So, for example, let's say that you do see a value proposition somewhere of, I don't know, maybe a different cut that a supplier did, that your audience will really love, and that gives you a runway to differentiate yourself. You should lean in and do that.
hmm
Like you were saying, okay, um, in our industry, most people can only print on cotton, and I'm like, okay, well, how do I win um, in an industry where you have companies with unlimited budgets to create new machines, and they've been around for 100 years, and they're like, global organizations, and then now I have to like win. Um, I decided I'm not going to compete. I'm going to create my own lane, uh, my own blue ocean strategy. You know, from I stole that from that book. Everybody out there, if you haven't read Blue Ocean Strategy, you got to read it. It's a game changer. But the point is, uh, I was able to create a different product by seeing a need in the marketplace. Um, and yes, I had to do R&D. I had to create a different ink. I had to create a different product, but that really propelled our business, where people got the best quality. We got like product of the year for like 6 years in a row. Um, and that's by doing that kind of stuff. And you could do it by finding a unique blank, a unique style, a unique stitch. If you know that it's missing in your audience and your marketplace, and that's what you could highlight and create your own blue ocean on it, you should lean in.
hmm
So that's my 2 cents on that, and that's how
hmm
I've been able to use it.
Yeah, I mean, I think like to know somebody who sews. I'm not saying you have to do it yourself, but to know somebody who does these things, to know somebody who can create a pattern, to know somebody who knows the materials, and then give it to you as a printer, and then you can print on it. So like I know I don't sew. I would like to learn how to sew someday, which I used to when I was younger, but I still want to learn how to sew. Um, and see, I'm already wanting to learn something else. And um, I'll let Guillermo worry about Photoshop. I just want to learn how to make things. And to do testing. And we have one thing that I have thought about, which is kind of a neat idea maybe for people. When you have leftover garments, or garments that are extras, if you buy extras, always buy one or two extras when you're buying garments, so that you can test on them and you can wear them. You can always cut them, and you can always make something else out of that same fabric. So maybe make it smaller or whatever, or for a doll or whatever, but you could test it and wash it and wear it, and sell it and see how people like it, or just show people and see their reactions to it. And then it's another way to start printing. You want to see if people are going to buy it, and maybe give it away at first. I hate to say that, but when you give somebody something, then they feel indebted to you, right? Like you give
Yep.
somebody a little necklace, and they feel like, oh, I have to, oh, now what can I do for them?
Yep.
It's always like you give, you give, you get, you give, you get. And as long as
There's
you
a
don't,
very proven law on that, reciprocity, Meryl, and people have to lean into that when it comes to providing samples, providing things like that. That somebody subconsciously feels that they got to give back
hmm
that same value that they got, or more, right? So that's something that we all can do more and better. I mean, I could do more of that.
yeah,
Um,
we could all do. Yeah. hmm hmm Yeah. It's like when you give a gift, you need to give a gift without any expectations, right?
yep.
The holiday time, birthday gifts, you give your wife a diamond ring, whatever.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
So yeah. So anyway, I don't know. Did we go through all of these questions? I had a whole list of questions. I think that we haven't talked about DTF. Let's talk about DTF. It's my
Let's do
favorite
it.
thing.
Let's go. Oh, is it? When I
Yeah.
was growing up, so I'm from the 80s. All right. DTF was something else. Now
Right,
it's direct
right,
to film, so
right,
just putting that out there.
right. Potty mouth. Okay.
the that's a good reel, Mao.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay. All right. All right, Guillermo, do your magic.
yeah.
I will. I will.
But yeah, I mean, it the when it comes to DTF, honestly, I've never seen something take over a segment so fast than DTF has. And it literally, in the last year and a half, pretty much turned the garment printing business upside down.
hmm hmm
And I think it's still not done. There's gonna just disrupt like a whole bunch of industries, and we've been leaning in on it, um, harder and harder. But we luckily we leaned on it early on.
hmm Yeah.
Uh, and so what we ended up doing is uh, look, this goes back to Meryl, to what I was telling you, where some decisions you make based on the work of creating a vision and values and stuff like that, in prior years of what your company is actually there doing. So for example, um, early on with DTF, most direct to garment printer manufacturers, they were like, this is just another transfer, it's a fad, it's going to go away, whatever, we're not even going to pay attention to it. In fact, most of the players in direct to garment paid no attention to DTF until it was too late. But in our mission and vision, it says we empower business owners to thrive.
hmm
So if we didn't lean into it, then what's the point of having a vision and a mission? That'd be kind of bogus, right? And I knew that, for example, I really like the technology, for hard to print stuff, neck tags. Like it could help people, um, even that had our direct to garment machines. So what we did really quick is we created a heated platen for our machine, so people didn't even have to um, buy a new machine to use DTF. We created like a kit for like $99. Uh, we reformulated our inks to work on both. We tested the hell and got certified. Um, for all the chemicals, because some of that stuff coming from China is super nasty, health wise. So we ended up just formulating our own inks and all that stuff here, so that we know what materials and ingredients are in. But my point is, we leaned in hard to it. But creating a new machine is difficult. especially and doing it fast is difficult.
Mhm.
But we leaned in on it for our existing customers, and then from there we created another machine for DTF only, and now we have three models. So I really feel that this technology is going to keep growing, and we're going to keep investing on it if it brings value to our customers, and it's all tied into what we're here to do every single day. So um,
Mhm.
that's why we got into it, and now some of those direct to garment companies are not here that were just doing DTG. They're gone.
Right,
um,
right. What do
and
you think
some
is
big,
going to be the future of DTF? Do you think it's going to be
look.
in the inks or the film or the powder or the?
Um, I think all that stuff, uh, like we make it up.
Mhm.
All the stuff is made up. For example, the products made up, the pricing is made up. We all make it up, right?
Mhm.
Uh, oh, this is great inks. We yeah, it's good stuff. But the point is we make it up. We make up what the benefits should be according to a hunch that we have, or how do we serve the audience better, right? On whatever product. And my point is, if we zoom out a little bit, um, and you realize that the bulk of the consumer um, doesn't really care whether it's DTF, screen printed, um, direct to garment. They don't even know,
Mhm. It's true.
right? Yeah,
They don't.
they don't
That's
even
true.
know. So
Yeah.
the
We stress
reality is,
over it, you
um,
know.
yeah, I mean, it's gonna grow regardless on the print on demand side, regardless of what technology ends up coming to decorate the shirt that gives you um, like the core pillars that you need. You got to have great color, great vibrancy, and great feel. So I
Mhm.
could tell you what we're doing, um, because it's not a secret. We're focused on how do we make it a softer feel. That's just working with our own ingredients for inks and adhesives and all that stuff. Great color, and then a great washable product, right? That
Mhm.
stands the test of time. You were saying, hey, I still have this shirt that's even the band's not even here. We
Right.
want stuff that survives the rock bands.
Right. Right.
So that's the goal, so I think, so for example, I think last I heard, the print on demand space was like 7 billion in just print on demand. Okay.
Crazy. It's crazy.
The growth rate in the next 5 years is another 25%.
Wow.
So uh, and that's with, like, all right, the economy, blah blah, every excuse you can make, but
Mhm.
at the end of the day, stuff is growing. So if we could zoom out a little bit and figure out, okay, what does a consumer want? They don't really care that it's DTF when they're going to the store or online. They care that it's durable, it looks nice, it's eco-friendly. Like, I didn't kill some turtles so that I can, do it. So I think that's what we got to focus on.
Mhm.
So we're leaning in, in that sense. Now, something else might come up in the next year
Mhm.
where it
Right.
blows DTF out of the water, right? Um,
Mhm.
and then we'll lean into that
Right.
because of the
Right.
core values and the mission set up.
Mhm.
But I think if we can all focus on what value we're bringing to the consumer with our brands, then
Mhm.
I think we'll be good.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I remember like when I first saw it, I think I saw it like somebody doing something on YouTube and one of my 3 o'clock in the morning things. And like I remember like I couldn't wait till it was daylight so I could like, come into work and tell everybody and then oh my God, look what I just saw on YouTube and how do we do this and let's try it and people are resistant to change. They are
Yep.
definitely resistant to change. But then I went into, I think I was in a store. I can't remember what store it was in the mall. And I was looking at and I always look at everything how it's printed. Like you said, get judgy on how this is printed.
Oh yeah.
Well, I am
Yeah.
guilty of doing that. I try to look at how my thing is I try to test myself. Like how was this printed? Am I going to get it right? Was it screen printed? Was it DTG printed? Was it sublimated? Was it vinyl? Some vinyls are so thin you feel like it's printed, and so I do that all the time. And I was like, I'm looking at this one garment. And I'm like, why does this look different? What is it? And it was like, that was DTF. And I thought, well, if I don't remember who it was, Victoria's Secret can do it, that then it's okay to really look into it to try to sell and to promote for our customers. So that's what made me like, yep, if they can do it, then it's okay. That means people are going to buy it. And that means the quality is going to last. That's another thing that I know it's going to last. And yeah, this was a couple of years ago in the beginning. And you're right. It is absolutely completely taken over the apparel decorating industry like crazy, like rhinestones did in the 90s.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, we got to bring rhinestones back. Or remember
Exactly.
the other,
Let's go.
what was the
Bring
other?
bring back the bling.
To bring back the bling, right? The other was when you cut the sequins into when you cut the vinyl, the metallic vinyl into circles. They were, what was it called? It wasn't a sequin, but it was a something like a sequin. But you
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
it on the metallic vinyl. It'll come to me when we get off this call. That'll be that's another little short, right?
Definitely.
So right. So wow, we have been. I don't even know if I went down the list. There's oh my goodness. Okay. Wow. So I guess I should ask you this other question because this is right up your alley. How important is it for business to invest in printing equipment?
That's a great question. So, I keep refining that based on like, experience, and I'll tell you what, like, when it comes to growing your business, like, there's very important ways of investing, right? So first, you got to make sure you're investing in yourself first, your education and all that. So, people out there, they need to be like investing in mentors, courses, like time. If you don't have the money, invest the time and get all this free YouTube learning to get good, right? Um, then always keep investing in equipment that'll bring value to the marketplace. So, for example, if you know that down the line, a piece of equipment is going to solve a big problem for you, maybe you make more margin, maybe you deliver faster, take control of your quality. Maybe you need to be doing sampling and testing out for your e-commerce store, and you're building a brand. It's the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you should be investing in new equipment and all that. But this is the other flip side. Um, there's times where you don't need to invest in equipment. In fact, I don't want you to buy printers from us. Like, let us print for you first, so that
Mm-hmm.
you can learn how to sell, learn how to get good, learn how to take responsibility, learn how to really grow a brand and a business. A lot of people buy equipment, they think the equipment is going to make sales. And
Right.
what happens when they get it? It
Right.
sits there,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
stuff that sits there makes no money for anyone. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're upset because you're not making money. And we're upset because we're supporting you all the time and you're not really doing anything. And you're the worst customer on the planet when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's why I say there's times to invest, and then there's times where somebody else, like us or like Meryl, needs to be doing the printing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you're going to pay more, but uh, you're going to get the guidance on what to do, what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then now the powerful side of that too is now you can do real numbers when it's time for you to buy equipment. Then you're like, all right, I'm gonna buy Meryl's equipment. I already know the quality. I know what she's doing. Um, I know that, sorry, Meryl, I'm gonna make more margin now because I'm gonna print my own stuff. Um, but it's all a cycle, and nobody's mad at you for growing your business. And sometimes you're gonna even need with your own equipment somebody to help you print high volumes, anyways,
Right,
and
right.
build a
It's always good to
relationship.
know
So
that. Yeah, it's always good to know your competitors in your neighborhood. So in case you need them for some reason, you get a job and it's too much for you because eventually that will happen. I know a lot of these like um, the DIY moms. They'll come to us like, "Hey, I didn't realize that I was going to get this job for 100 shirts," and what do I do? I need your help, and that's always that does happen. So people that are starting out, you you watch out because you keep on doing what you're doing, and you will get to that spot in the road where you are going to have to get either your own equipment or find somebody that can help you produce your products. I know that one thing that you have, Victor, you have a lot of opportunities for teaching your customers. You have the Creators Live, you have seminars and webinars, and you have um, I don't what were you doing? Where remember when I went on and I got to actually talk to Damon Johns, which I
yeah, you
thought was like
did,
super
man. What a
cool.
treat. Yeah, the a boot camp. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are great. So Victor does that. I'm sure you were the brainchild for putting those together because of things how you learned to grow in your business and you didn't have anybody telling you. You had to do it yourself, and now you see that other business owners need that support to grow their business and to keep on going. And
Yeah,
they need to know that
definitely.
you're
And
behind them.
yep, yep. So I told you guys that it's all about stuff that I've learned from doing, right? So being able to invest in mentors, learn, has given me kind of that extra level of confidence to lean into something that's new and difficult, right?
Mhm.
And that's from my investment. So, for example, um, it's commonplace now, but if you remember, we did our first big online event, um, April 16th, 2020, right after the shutdown,
Mhm.
and it
I was
was eight
there.
hours.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, how did you keep my attention? I didn't even get up and go to the bathroom. I just sat there and listened the
There
whole
was like,
time.
yeah, there was like over 1,000 people in there for 8 hours, and
Mhm.
we were just
Mhm.
delivering value. But
Mhm.
I had seen how, if you do that, then you'll make it happen, right? And the same thing. How do I get Damon John to come on? How do I get Grant Cardone, Brandon Dawson, Tim Story, a whole bunch of these mega people when it comes to the mentorship side, just building relationships.
Mhm. Right.
We did our second one, um, and I think that one we charged for, and it was peanuts too. I think it was like $69.
Mhm.
Um, and when like normally these guys are charging like $1,000 and like five grand for VIP, whatever, right? But the point is, nobody in our industry had done a web anything,
Mhm. Mhm.
uh, and
You
so
even
it's like,
do live events at the shows
yep,
where people
yep,
can call in and ask questions right there live. So as it's happening, which I
yep.
think is really, really cool. I don't know what software you use to do that, but it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat.
Yeah,
Yeah, put you on the spot, but it's good
yeah,
when
no,
you.
dude, it's all about my team.
Mhm.
Uh, Mauricio handles a lot of that stuff, and it's all based on the value. Like, there's nobody it's ever said, hey, you know what? I'm gonna do a trade show, but then I'm gonna put a stage inside of it with fire and smoke,
Mhm.
with guests and all that stuff, and then run a virtual event at the same time. And I was like, well, we're already investing, we're already doing it. Might as well
Mhm.
do that. And then what happens? You have like hundreds of people on there that can't go to the show or they can't make it. Um, and they're in there also learning, getting that same value. Um, yeah. And then, we do it anyways. Shows, they said you can't do it. You can't, oh, it's fire hazard, this problem, that. Oh, the internet won't hold. You just figure out a way, right?
Mhm.
And just use good tools, We use like Zoom and OBS and a whole bunch of different other tools to make it happen and get people to sign up. Um, and so, yeah, we're the first ones ever to do that too. We've seen some stuff pop up in the last show where people have tried to do that, but they figured out how hard it is to actually get people to sign up and show up
Hmm.
and actually bring them value. So
Right.
it's
Right.
tough.
Right. Well, it's definitely not boring hanging out with you for sure.
That's good.
Right.
Now I gotta
We,
level up. What's the new
we,
thing?
I
Yeah,
know,
what?
really,
Yeah, what's
really.
the new thing to do?
We'll have to do a live spill the tea at the next one, right?
Let's do it.
Right,
For
right.
8 hours.
For
Eight
eight
hours.
hours. Oh, I don't know.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, there's a, we can only hold that back then because there wasn't all this Zoom fatigue
Yeah.
that it is now, right? Dude,
Yeah.
our show up rate on the first one was like, I don't know, 70, like 72% show up rate. Now show up rates for events are like 12%,
Mm,
15%.
mm.
That so um, even people that pay will only show up like 12% of the time.
Yeah, I think people are kind of getting a little bored with like Zoom. Um, they just, get like whatever, ants in their pants. They can't just like sit still so long like they used to before. There was no place to go. You couldn't go anywhere. So
Yep.
you could sit there. But I remember I remember sitting there, remember like, how am I sitting here? I don't even want to leave, I was, like, bring me the coffee,
Yeah,
So
exactly.
right, right, right. But it was great. So, Victor, everything you do is really from your heart. You have grown with the industry, and it is so great to see and great to continue. And, I feel that, learning is key to anything. And the fact that, that you do that only helps you and only helps your customers, only helps your life, your family, and of course, it helps the rest of us too. So, is there any other parting, Guillermo? I know you were kind of quiet because a lot of this stuff is actually Guillermo is okay. I'm talking too much, but Guillermo needed to learn a lot of stuff from you,
Yeah.
so he was really like, "I'm going to listen to this whole conversation here." So,
Yeah, I mean, it was really inspiring to hear you talking, Victor. I mean, you said the first thing you said here in the podcast was hope you get some inspiration to anybody can listen. So I'm one of those. Hearing your story, hearing how you start. I mean, I don't know. I got inspired. I want to do stuff, and I don't know. Thank you, gracias. I mean,
Yeah, no.
it's amazing hearing from you.
One thing I could add, guys, is, and I'm gonna do it better, right? But um, the reality is, even in and most communities, right? But it seems like a cliche, but I think I want to lean in more and do more content for like Latin communities, just underserved communities. Like the reality is, it's not like we have the education coming into this country on how to really make it. It's more like
Yeah.
we're just stumbling. And I remember that obviously it's like I didn't know English or any of that stuff. You gotta start there, and so you gotta go through that part. But the model that I had was um, the it's all about like who's the top influence in your area, right? And my top influence was most Mexicans, we come and we do construction. So my whole family pretty much did construction, and then some of my uncles, they had like work trucks and they were making like 50 grand a year. And I'm like, oh man, that's millions. Like I want to do that. And they're killing it. They're killing it. They're the ones who buy the barbecue for the meat. Um, they got a 30 pack of beer. They have a
Right.
they have a new Ford. Um, and it's like, man, they're just like rich. So then um, The reason I'm telling you that is you have to figure out um, what that leadership role that you want to follow. Because if I were to say, hey, you know what, that's my top thing that I want to follow and keep following it, then I would have stayed doing construction, and I would have had a work truck, and I would have had like my 30 pack of Bud Light at the end of a hard day, and then I'm happy as hell, right? Because and there's nothing wrong with it. But then I see, okay, well, uh, wait a minute, I'm doing this job, and then there's a real estate investor that comes in with a super hot girlfriend, black Range Rover, and he's showing her like how he's gonna fix this and fix that, and then he's like gonna flip it, and he's gonna make like 200 grand, right? And then I'm like, damn fool, I'm over here like doing this electrical job, and you're paying me 300 bucks. Um, and but then I'm like, dude, that's where I want to be. Um, and fast forward, uh, and you start seeing what the vision is. A big real estate investor. Uh, any sort of profit, I've always moved it to a hard asset like real estate. Um, and that's what we all need to do. We need to start something that has a flow. We need to keep leveling up on who we allow to be around ourselves and who we allow to give us the model of what success is.
Hmm.
uh, and then keep leveling that up and keep
Hmm.
moving up, keep finding better mentors, and leveling up for yourself, and then becoming the investor instead of the worker.
Hmm. Right.
And it's going to take some time, and
Yeah.
there's ways of doing it. So I got to commit more to sharing how, just from the bottom all the way to making it, and even beyond, on how we can all do it, because that's the reality. If I was able to do it, and I was a C student, um, and that's how you're able to do it.
I know. I read a lot of books. I guess you do too. I'm reading one now, Who Not How. I read a lot of books, and I always learn, even though sometimes it's the same stuff over and over, that's repetitive. You still need to like have it drilled into you so you don't forget. You don't forget every time, you wake up in the morning. So I think reading is and getting the right books. And I did write down two things that you said, so that's good. So we're just gonna go get those books. and um
Mm.
and so
I love it.
anyway, Victor, it was wonderful seeing you. No, I know fire and behind you
There's
today,
no fire.
but
Come on, Mal. Where's the fire at?
come on,
Damn, we
woo,
fumbled
woo,
it
and
today.
just to
It's
see you
all good.
relaxed and not stressed. And thank you, Guillermo, as always, and for being a great creative director partner here with us on Spill the Tea, and our graphic designer for the past 2 years. It's been 2 years now, coming up on
Yeah,
two
2 years.
years. Yeah, yeah. So your creativity is wonderful and growing, and I
Thank
see
you.
I see that, which is great. And maybe I'll see Victor. Maybe I'll see you in Long Beach in January.
Yeah, let's roll. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a big flight, but I may go again. I don't know. So thank you everybody for joining us on Spill the Tea. Leave good comments when you see this video, and any questions that you want to come back to me to ask Victor. You can post or you can call us. Make a tea online. Omniprint International. We're not hard to find, guys. So thank you all for joining us on Spill the Tea, and we hope to see you soon. Yep, Spill the Tea.
Awesome.
Victor, I got to bring you a cup.
I love it.
Okay,
Thank you guys.
bye,
Thank you for having
everybody.
me.
Bye.
Bye.